It's week 1 of the NFL, and we've got some history in this battle of AFL alumni. It's the Bills and the Jets on Monday night.
From the stadium that hosted Super Bowl 48 back in 2014, there's a look at MetLife Stadium here in East Rutherford. Tonight, it's our first Monday night game of the new season, and we've got a good one coming up, as it'll be the Buffalo Bills taking on the New York Jets. Alongside Charles Davis, I'm Brandon Gaudin. Now, we talk about the phrase last but not least. That qualifies here. It's the final game of week 1 and one of the most anticipated debuts around these parts in a long time. All eyes on the Bills defense getting ready to go here in this opening Monday night contest of the new year. And the one we'll be watching is this man at corner.
So many times when he's on the field, you hear announcers like us talk about how calculating he is when he goes for the football. And what they mean, he has a high football IQ, and he eliminates all the errors that could happen and makes big plays as a result.
Now the second-year man back from injury. It's Breece Hall. And a short pickup to about the 27. It'll be second down. So Aaron Rodgers here getting his first run in a Jets uniform. Well, he'll get 3 of his first 4 games at home, but it is an intimidating slate. You got Buffalo tonight. They go to Dallas next Sunday, followed by a divisional home game against the Patriots, a team that's had their number, to put it mildly. And then the Super Bowl champs come in week 4.
And don't forget, not far behind them, the Eagles in week 6. But I think that this is a great way to open for Aaron Rodgers. If you've ever wanted a challenge, this is it. And this gives him a chance.
Now look out, Rodgers lost the football. Now this is picked up by the Bills. And they will take over at the 26-yard line. And a defensive-minded coach loves to turn up the heat, turns it up there, it pays off.
And back in the good old days, those defensive-minded coaches just talked about intimidating teams, using force, right, beating them to the punch. In this case, they're talking about creating turnovers. That's all they preach, all game long, all practice long, every meeting. Get the football. That's what they want.
The Bills defense ready to go again. They lead 7-0, trying to put a stop together here as this drive starts with a first down. They'll start on the ground. Hall, and he's going to take this ahead for right around 3 yards, but no more than that. Second down. Here's 2nd and 7 now from the 28. Here's Rodgers. Catch is made by Hardman. And he's going to be out up around the 45-yard line. The Jet first down, 18 big yards that time. Now it's Rodgers. And the Bills are going to get him as he goes down. The safety blitz turns out to be a great call defensively as they sack him for a loss of 9.
Well, that's the second time he's been sacked so far in the first half. And if they have designs on having a big year, on going anywhere, they've got to find a way to keep him upright so he can throw the football.
And they need to work to at least get some of this yardage back after the sack. 2nd and 19. On second down, a run with Hall. And he is met in his tracks behind the line of scrimmage. Just a 1-yard loss that time, but that's not what they needed. Now they're dealing with a 3rd and long. Throwing is Rodgers. They'll set up the screen for Hall. And he'll get it out near the 40 to the 39.
Holding offense.
So instead of giving them another third down, they'll decline it, brings up 4.
Now that's smart football right there. You don't even have to really spend a lot of time considering it. Just know that you're probably going to get the ball back. Good job declining that penalty.
The Buffalo defense back out there. They've had the upper hand so far in this first half of play, working with a good lead already as they look to defend this first down. Hall ought to give up the middle. And not much to speak of. Call it a 1-yard gain up to the 26. Credit him with a 1-yard gain there to make it 2nd and 9. 10-0 the score after 1 on EA Sports. Second quarter now from MetLife Stadium. The Jets with the football here. So after the run for a yard, here comes 2nd and 9 from the 26. And Rodgers is going to go down. He's sacked. Matt Milano charges in there hard and drops him for a loss of 12 from that outside linebacker position. These sacks now, they're starting to pile up, Charles, and that front 7 defensively, they've had their way with this offensive line.
And I think at this stage, we have to start thinking about different play calls. We've got to start helping this quarterback out because the entire game he's been under siege. I don't care what the down and distance, they've got to get the ball out of his hands a lot quicker.
Now on 3rd and long, they'll look to throw. And this turns into disaster. He's not going to get forward progress. That'll be a safety.
Well, 2 snaps ago, I don't think anyone thought a safety was on the table, yet it happened. They caught him on back-to-back plays breaking through the line. No amount of evading was going to save him from a sack on either play. And on the last one, he ran too deep into the end zone to set up the safety.
The Bills defense ready to go again. They, you might remember, forced a safety last time they were out there, so they're playing with some confidence now as this drive begins with a first down. Now Hall to start the drive. Shoves him away. And a short pickup to about the 25. And a stoppage here. We're going to need to take a moment as a Jet was shaken up on that one. Boy, you always hate to see injuries, especially tough here in week 1. Just hoping this is nothing serious. We'll take a quick timeout. From the 25, here's 2nd and 6. Here's Hall again. And he stopped immediately there. No gain on the play there, so they're left with a 3rd down and 6.
The running lanes have definitely not been there for him here in the first half, and I don't think it's all been his fault. His offensive line hasn't given him much space. A loss results there.
The offense on 3rd down tonight, 0 for 3 to this point. They could use a conversion. This will be 3rd and 6. And they take him down. The Bills get to him. A pause here for an injured player, and this would be an important one. Von Miller in some discomfort on the field right now. We'll get an up. The Buffalo defense back out there. And after their guys were forced to punt a moment ago, they'll try to force one of their own here as this drive begins with a first down. On 1st and 10, it's Hall. And he's brought down at the 24 after a gain of 4. Call it a gain of 4 on 1st, and that'll make it 2nd down. And we've hit the 2-minute mark in this first half of action. We remind you that coming up at the half, we'll hand things off to Jonathan Coachman standing by in Orlando. He'll have scores from earlier today, plus a look ahead as well, so you won't want to miss that. A lot going on here in week 1. Now Rodgers throwing on 2nd down. That's into a crowd and intercepted. And his guys will take over at the 25-yard line. Boy, he had to fit that into a pretty tight window over the middle. And, Charles, I think they were in zone defensively, weren't they?
They certainly were. Nice read on your part. And sometimes the quarterback isn't fooled between zone and man. Sometimes just fooled by the type of zone that he sees. Because oftentimes, those linebackers will vacate and run downfield with receivers. In this case, he played a pure zone and was in the wrong spot for the QB.
The Bills defense ready to go again. They've looked good so far. This whole team has, for that matter, in the midst of a big first half as this next drive begins 1st and 10. They go back to the air here after the INT on the last drive. And Rodgers is going to go down. He's sacked. The Jets are going to use the first of their timeouts as they'll talk things over prior to this upcoming second down play. Now Rodgers. And his throw is incomplete.
And this drive is almost over before it began thanks to a great defensive effort. Sack on first down, followed by an incompletion. One more good rep, and they get off the field.
An incomplete pass on that last play, and that means they'll need to come up with something here on 3rd down. Straight ahead is home. And he'll take this one only up to about his 13-yard line. Just a 1-yard gain on the play, and that'll mean a call to the punt team as it's 4th down.
Well, they got off the field on 3rd down. An excellent job, an excellent defensive series. We always talk about adjustments, and usually only at halftime. But the best teams adjust series to series. And on that series, they adjusted so well that they got the job.
And with time running short here, they'll simply take a knee, and that should do it for half number 1. So we reach halftime here at our first Monday Nighter of the season, as we'll get you down the coast to Orlando for Jonathan Coachman at our EA Sports Halftime Report. Coach.
Okay, Brandon, thanks very much. Welcome in, everyone, to our EA Sports Halftime Report. Let's get you caught up on what's going on around the NFL. We'll get started over at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in downtown Atlanta. And it was the Panthers who began the Frank Reich era with a victory. Bryce Young, a touchdown pass in the victory. Next, we head up to the Windy City. Check on the Bears at home, Soldier Field. And they were losers in that one to the visiting Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love with 3 touchdown passes in the Week 1 victory. Finally, let's get right to the center of the U.S. map and check in on the Chiefs at home in Kansas City. And they were losers in that game as they fall to the visiting Detroit Lions. David Montgomery, a touchdown run in the victory. This was an extremely one-sided first half. One team showed up, ready to go. The other's been in a daze thus far, but there's still plenty of time left for this one to tighten up significantly.
The Buffalo defense back out there. They've got this offense backed up to start out. The line of scrimmage, the 5-yard line as we begin 1st and 10. Throwing on first down is Rodgers. He completes that to Garrett Wilson. And he's going to get a solid gain of 9 before being brought down. 2nd and right at a yard.
An ex-teammate used to tell me all the time, I hate experienced quarterbacks because no matter what, You really can't hide what you're doing. And I think that right there, he knew right away where the blitz was coming from, where his primary guy was going to be, and he ended up going to a secondary target for a nice game.
I was just going to ask you, that wasn't the primary target. He's so good at that, isn't he?
I think he knew right away that he wasn't going to get to his primary guy. I think he read that as soon as he got to the line of scrimmage, knew where the pressure was going to come from, and said, I know how to beat that, and that's what he did.
Rodgers. And his throw's going to be incomplete.
From the snap, he certainly looked like he knew where he wanted to go with the ball, but surprise, that guy was covered. So that took his attention elsewhere to no avail.
Rodgers again now. A short throw to Conklin, the tight end. That helps the completion percentage, but not much else, and now it's 3rd and 10.
Got to give credit where it's due. Really nice defense on that play. The pitch and catch was successful, but not any run after it.
This offense in desperate need of a conversion as they come up on 3rd down. Rodgers going to throw. And he's going to go down. Back at his own 5-yard line, it's a sack. Multiple rushers break through to drop him for the 7th time this game.
This offensive line flat out cannot handle this pass rush. We've seen it demonstrated time and time again to the tune of 7 sacks in this game thus far.
The Bills defense ready to go again. They'll see what they can do and trying to force a stop as this drive starts 1st and 10. Play action. Now it's Rodgers. Nowhere to go here. He lost the football. Oh, and one of the linemen on the other side has got it. Second time in this game, Charles, the ball has squirted out from his hands. Luckily, his teammate was there to pounce on it.
You're right. Got the lucky bounce, able to retain possession. You know, we often talk about the combine and why do we measure quarterbacks' hands. Is that really a big deal? It's for situations like this. Do you have the hands big enough and strong enough to hold on to the football while being jostled?
And they only get a yard back there. They'll be left with a 3rd down and long. Another modest gain there on that one, and I think, Charles, you can probably pin part of the deficit on a failure on their part to really get this ground game established.
Yeah, they've really struggled to be multidimensional in this one, having a partner.
And he is going to be taken down. And that should be the final play of this 3rd quarter. He could not get away that time, and it'll be a loss of 11 on 3rd down. 1 quarter remains here as we wrap up the week on a Monday night. You're watching the NFL. The Buffalo defense back out there. They've pitched the shutout here into the 4th quarter. Been sensational. The question, can they finish it off? They'll need to come up with another stop here. On 1st down, Rodgers. And the Bills are going to get him as he goes down. Buried by multiple defenders on the drive's first play.
But one thing I do know, these guys on defense, they don't want this game to end. They're winning by multiple touchdowns. They've shut down the opposing quarterback in a big way, and they're still picking up sacks as we approach the end of this one.
Pass protection has been a problem all night long as they come up facing 2nd and a bundle. Rodgers now to throw. And this one incomplete. Too much contact to hold on to that one, and it's 3rd down.
And that's another play that's painted the picture of this game overall. It's been a blowout. It's been continually fueled by big turnovers and stops for one side and an inability to advance the ball from the other.
On 3rd down, here's Hall. And they'll get him down here at the 23. 4 yards on the pickup there, but it's going to take him to 4th down.
He continues to struggle to find a crease to break off a big one and might need to just put that aside and just try and ram his way forward and get what he can.
And they're indeed going to go for it here on 4th down. So trailing here in the last quarter. Let's see how this plays out. Now they go for it on 4th, but this one is going to wind up incomplete. The Jets try it, but the 4th down play doesn't work. And the Bills are going to take over in excellent field position. The Bills defense ready to go again. They've put in a very good shift so far, and this one pretty well in hand. Just looking to finish strong here in the 4th as this next drive starts 1st and 10. On 1st and 10, here's Rodgers. And his throw here is incomplete.
At this point in the game, they've got to continue to try anything they can. They're still working at it, even though this one feels like a lost cause.
So the incompletion, and now it's 2nd and 10, again from the 25-yard line. Here's Rodgers to throw. On the throw, led him too much that time. It's incomplete. Well, the trials and tribulations of being a quarterback in this league, it's tough. It's got to be wearing on him out there.
Well, he has been sacked a number of times. He had an interception, so I'm going to give him a skosh of credit for hanging in there and trying to make something happen, despite the amount of pressure he's been under this entire game.
Now the throw on 3rd down, knocked away and incomplete.
This has been a rough one, to put it mildly, for him. And after this one's done, you just feel like at the post-game press conference, this team's going to have a lot of questions and definitely not a lot of answers.
All right, they're going to try and keep hope alive here on 4th down. They're going for it. Now Rodgers, got to have this one. And it's going to be batted down, and we'll go the other way with the football. The Jets try it, but the 4th down play doesn't work. And it'll be a turnover on downs. The Buffalo defense back out there. They'll have field position working in their favor as this ball backed up inside the 5-yard line as this drive begins 1st and 10. They fake the give. Now Rodgers. And can you believe it? It's a 2nd safety in this ball game. Well, this defense has been smothering all game long. Why not give them 2 more points here in the closing minutes?
Well, they've certainly earned it. They've gotten the better of this offensive line for 4 quarters, and this sack here will just be a little icing on the cake.
For the winning team here, Charles, that's about as big and clean of a win as you could hope for in the National Football League. No turnovers. Meanwhile, you forced turnovers. You didn't allow any points, and you put up a bunch of points. What an effort.
And, Brandon, I just have to ask you, that's all the stuff that we saw happen today. Those are statistics, numbers, the whole deal. But my question is, how does one team come ready to play, and the other one, obviously, not ready at all?
Well, I mean, I obviously don't have an answer to that, but that was the story from the get-go. One side was awake and ready, and the other just seemed asleep. So for the Bills, you can't ask for a better start as they pitch a shutout here in the opener, and they will head back home next week. Meanwhile, for the Jets, they obviously fall to 0-1 with the defeat, and they'll try to get back on track next week as they head to Dallas to take on the Cowboys.